The Gig by Jim Wright. Viv pedaled briskly down the street on her Schwinn Roadster, twin pannier bags swinging on the back of the bicycle. She was on her way to a gig. It had taken the whole morning for Viv to drive to Franklinville, park her Honda Civic at the Sure Save supermarket, wrestle her bike off the car rack, and start her excursion down Market Street. This was her second visit to this town. She especially liked the blooming flower boxes fronting the shops. As she sped past pedestrians, Viv saw with amusement that she still possessed her magical power of invisibility. She would roll up on passers-by who observed her snow-white hair and crinkled cheeks. In the nanosecond they recognized that she was old, Viv could feel their gaze shift from looking at her to looking through her. For them, she simply disappeared from the streetscape. But Viv refused to fade without a fight. Instead, she weaponized color. Today, she rode in what she called her Tuscan look. Burnt yellow straw hat with jaunty orange scarf, ropey necklaces of purple and pink beads, and a turquoise blazer with cobalt-cropped pants. Sure, people still looked past Viv like she was some kind of shrub, but the colors she wore vibrated in her soul, lofty and sustaining as an aria. She looked at her watch. The gig was about 5 blocks away, just in time to make the appointment. She had recently retired as a bookkeeper for a plumbing outfit. While the job was a grind, quitting work cold turkey had been especially tough. Idle hands are the devil's playground. But one lucky day surfing the internet, and she stumbled onto her new mission: pest control. When a girl, Viv had lived in the country and hunted with a .22 rifle. She learned that death is ordinary and ever-present, and she realized even then that she had the stomach for it. So now she made inquiries online and discovered that pest control work didn't pay much, but there was a steady demand, and it would be a way to give back to the community. At the next light, Viv turned onto Cumberland Avenue and pedaled up a low hill past well-kept houses. Soon she spotted the landmark she had been seeking, a cluster of evergreens along the street. As she approached, chipmunks scurried through the grass. Left unchecked, those rodents could do a lot of damage, she thought. Viv got off her bike and rolled it into the sanctuary of the pines. She stood hidden in a shadowy, irregular tree circle. The ground was carpeted in needles. Viv propped her bicycle on its kickstand and walked to the far side of the circle. Parting the branches, she had a clear sightline across a neat lawn to another street, where a tidy yellow cottage faced her. 3 plump crows swaggered along the lawn's edge. Viv worked quickly. She opened the pannier bags, pulled out packages of adult diapers, and set them aside. She unfolded a picnic blanket and spread it out at the far side of the circle. Gently, she lifted out the polished steel components of the device that she called the gizmo, arranging them on the blanket. It was short work for Viv to assemble the gizmo, gripping the receiver and snapping into place the stock, barrel, suppressor, telescopic sight, and magazine. Fishing a sheet of paper from her pocket, Viv gingerly eased herself belly down onto the blanket, picked up the assembled rifle, and pointed it through a gap in the branches. She framed a crow in the magnified crosshairs of the sight. Her finger caressed the trigger. Viv suddenly raised her head and squinted across the lawn. A man had stepped out onto the porch of the yellow cottage with a little white dog on a leash. Viv looked at her watch. Right on time. The man was 50 or so, with a full head of salt and pepper hair, a heavy lower lip, and sinewy arms that strained his red polo shirt. Viv looked from the man to a photo on the paper. It was him. She looked again at the paper, rereading the final entry she had retrieved that morning from the secure pest control site message board. "Every day is a terror. He beats me. He threatens to kill me if I ever divorce him." Viv brought the sight up to her eye, swung the rifle a few millimeters to the right, waited until the man took his first step off the porch and pulled the trigger. The rifle gave a small kick and a muffled pop, and the startled crows flew into the air. The man tottered and fell heavily off the steps onto his face as his dog barked hysterically. A nice, clean kill. Viv moved methodically but without hurry, disassembling the gizmo and repacking the pannier bags. As she worked, she heard screams of neighbors and, soon, the approaching wail of police sirens. She brushed stray pine needles from her clothing, peeked out to ensure her street was clear, and pedaled away. 2 blocks later, Viv was surprised to see a police car ahead on Cumberland Avenue, setting up a checkpoint. She must have taken longer to pack than she thought. Viv lined up behind a pickup and a blue SUV and studied the two officers staffing the checkpoint. When it was her turn, Viv smiled at the male officer and watched his face register impatience as he realized she was an aging woman on a bicycle. He started to wave her on, but the female officer at the checkpoint pointed to Viv's pannier bags. "Ma'am, what's inside?" Viv parked her bicycle on its kickstand and opened the two panniers, showing the package of adult diapers. Both officers looked away with expressions of embarrassment. "Sorry for the inconvenience. You can go," said the woman officer. She turned to the next vehicle. With a serene smile, Viv pedaled back to her car, still snug in her cloak of invisibility.